The student address will be presented by Michelle Marie Miller of the class of 2010.
Good morning, graduates. It sounds so good, I'm going to say it one more time. Good morning, graduates. The thing that I keep thinking about this morning is how that less than 3 years ago, most of us were complete strangers to each other. We came from different schools, different parts of the country, from completely different backgrounds. And yet today, as we sit next to each other, the bond we share is strong. I think a lot of this has to do with going through so many similar experiences together. Like, we all know the fear felt the first time, your first semester of law school, that professor calls your name. And even though back then we actually read and briefed the assigned cases, your heart beat a million miles a minute, and it seemed like your brain melted with the sound of your name. We all remember that relief felt after each semester ends and our exams are finally done. The air is fresher, food tastes better. It's like being released from prison each and single semester. Over the last 3 years, we've all accumulated a few stories on each other that, if ever disclosed, might keep a few of us from passing the moral character section of the bar. There are songs that remind us of each other, get-togethers we'll never forget, and a few Facebook photos we wish we could. At some point over the last 3 years, we started following the Supreme Court closer than American Idol. And to us, the justices are like rock stars. We've all listened to a friend's personal problem and only been able to think about her potential legal claims. To us, Iraq is not just a country. The reasonable person is the most annoying man alive. And from time to time, we all tell really lame law jokes. I think over the last 3 years, I've learned just how big of a nerd I really am, and then looked around and realized I'm in pretty good company. But the bond we share is bigger than mere shared experiences. We entered those large wood-carved doors of Warren Hall that first time, uncertain about the task before us. We grew on the backs of our professors, men and women who could earn more money doing other things. People who have made it their career to go out and gather information, only to complete the task by imparting that onto us. And so for their dedication to us and the legal profession as a whole, we are forever grateful. So will all the graduates please rise and thank our faculty and administrators that are sitting here today. Sit down. But our real education, no offense, did not occur in a lecture hall. That was just the beginning. What's brought us here, what's brought us to this point, happened outside a classroom. It was at the tables in the Ritz. It was at the bars where we had drinks at night. It was at each other's apartments where we met to study and relax. It was in those places that, in the form of dialogue, argument, analysis, and ultimately enlightenment, that we learned to be lawyers. And that happened just between us as students. So while many of us may not see each other again after these days, we will forever be connected to each other. Perhaps not in the physical sense, but certainly in the work we do. But it is now time for us to move forward. Time for us to become lawyers. And while we have all worked extremely hard to reach this goal, there's little doubt that we would not be here right now if it were not for the people surrounding us today. I am certain I speak for all the graduates when I say that the last 3 years have had some very difficult moments. And the stresses we have shared, or the stresses we have felt, have certainly been felt by many of you. Thank you for sticking by us when we were not that much fun to stick by. Thank you for your words of encouragement on the days we needed encouraging. Thank you for the gossip from home that took our minds off of school, your stories that made us laugh and put things in perspective. We would not be here right now if it were not for many of you. And even if we were, today would not be as important to us without all of you to share it with. So if all the graduates will rise one more time, and please thank all of your family and friends that are here today. But while we are celebrating today, there will certainly be those who will roll their eyes and groan at the thought of 300 more lawyers being released into the judicial jungle. But anyone who entered these walls so that upon departure, they would be venerated, toasted, or even appreciated for the work they do was misguided. That does not change, however, the necessity of that work. For it is a lawyer who is called to represent those whose speech is appalling, not because he does not define it as such, but rather he understands that our right to speak freely is more important than any desire to never be offended. It is the lawyer who negotiates the settlement for Bernie Madoff or the prenuptial agreement for Tiger Woods, not because he agrees with every term, but he understands society is most benefited by being able to contract freely. It is the lawyer who fights for every client as if he were innocent, not because he naively believes all of his clients actually are, but he understands it is the only way to ensure our system of innocent until proven guilty. The American legal system was set up to ensure equal justice under the law for all. And all means exactly what it says. There's no ambiguity. There can be no doubt. The worst in society is entitled to their share of our protections. And if they do not receive them, we all suffer. Perhaps not today, but certainly tomorrow. But the lawyer is more than a soldier of the law. We are about to become counselors of the law, professional problem solvers. Our education has given us a unique set of tools so that we may act as advisors to our clients, guiding them down the correct path, regardless of whether that is settlement, alternative dispute resolution, litigation, or no legal action at all.